Hey YouTube, it's Eric. I think this will be an interesting video. I've covered this a little bit, kind of sprinkled throughout my old videos, but I want to make a full video on the topic, and that's just how the Knights of Columbus own Yankee Stadium. I'm just going to show you some context for that, and that's why when Al Smith, before he, the first Roman Catholic that was openly Roman Catholic that was running for president, Al Smith like went to the Yankee Stadium all the time during the 20s and took many photo shoots. I'm going to show you a photo with Knight of Columbus, Roman Catholic Al Smith, with Babe Ruth, who is also a Knight of Columbus, the famous Yankee legend. But the Knights of Columbus full out own the stadium. Like they invested like $2.5 billion in the 50s to build the stadium, and they still own it to this day. And that's why in the Yankee Stadium, kind of on the outside of it, kind of looks like a Roman Coliseum. It just makes sense, and that's why like Pope Paul VI and Pope John Paul II have said Catholic Mass at Yankee Stadium. And that's actually there's so many Yankees or so many Catholics involved with the Yankees right now. I'm gonna show you Brian Cashman, their current like executive general manager, was educated at Jesuit Georgetown Prep. Joe Girardi, their former manager, is Catholic. A lot of their play-by-play guys are Catholic. Okay. You see here, this is the site here that I found. This is called the Great Knight. Here on opening day 1923 of the Yankee Stadium, Knight of Columbus member Al Smith, future candidate for president, funded by the massive American corporations and the rich Catholic elitists. Al Smith, the governor of New York, threw out the ceremonial first pitch in the quote, "the house that Ruth built," end quote. And guys, Babe Ruth was also a Knight of Columbus. Babe Ruth, the Knight himself, christened the new stadium with its first home run on the third inning that day. On top of the Knights being in charge of throwing out the first pitch opening day, they were also the Yankees' landlords for 20 years. Beginning in 1953, the Knights bought 9 acres of the Yankee Stadium and sat on a $2.5 million to create another outlet of fundraising for the Catholic apostolate. Leasing the land for 128,000 per year for 28 years, the Knights were trying to make an investment to aid their future safety of their organization and its charisms. The charisms were first advocated by the Knights founder, Father McGivney, country, family, and faith. That's funny. The Knights of Columbus actually on there. I'm going to show you context for this too. Here, I'll show you the logo though. I'll show you all the different fasci. So you see that the Knights of Columbus are like a fascist organization. The same Knights of Columbus actually, I've covered this previously. They called the Mexican president Calles the Antichrist because Calles wanted to break the monopoly that the Catholic-run American oil corporations had over Mexico, that were keeping the people of Mexico in a state of miserable poverty. The Knights of Columbus also were honoring the mass murdering Archbishop of Croatia, Archbishop Stepniak, in the 40s, late 40s and 50s. Knights of Columbus were having like public rallies in the United States, calling Archbishop Stepniak a hero and a martyr and a soldier of Christ, when in reality he was a piece of shit fascist, totalitarian, who was responsible for the deaths of 700,000 innocent people in Croatia and all over Yugoslavia. Okay, but here's the Knights of Columbus logo. They have the Roman fasces. That's where the word fascism originates from. Okay, I just want to let you know that. Okay, but you see here, actually, here's the picture of Governor Knight of Columbus Governor Al Smith of New York with Babe Ruth holding like the baseball here. You see here, after the 20 years of owning the land upon which many Yankee legends were made, the drastic 1974 renovation of the stadium eventually allowed for the for sale sign. But the Knights still own the stadium, and actually, here's a plaque here at at the Yankee Stadium. Gift of Knights of Columbus to John Paul II. Okay. So actually, and Albert Manhattan wrote in 1983 that the Knights of Columbus were still the owners of the Yankee Stadium. Actually, here's a picture of Pope Paul VI at the Yankee Stadium right here. He as well as John Paul II had mass at Yankee Stadium. They, they also had mass in Pittsburgh. Okay, here's the picture. Okay, this is I'm reading from the Vatican Billions, page 183. Um, so one of these, so it's talking about the Knights of Columbus have assets exceeding $200 million. Now this is 1983. We're talking here. Yeah, their portfolio includes 55.5 million in securities, several million dollars in Canadian government bonds. I absolutely the Knights of Columbus have money in Canadian government bonds. Literally, just type it in. Every single town, like in the province of Ontario, has a Knights of Columbus fraternity. Doesn't matter how small the town is. Towns like the size of 5,000 population will have a Knights of Columbus fraternity, as well as a Freemasonic fraternity. We're continuing. Their portfolio includes 55 million in assets, or 55 million in securities. That is the Knights of Columbus. Several million in Canadian government bonds. 4.8 million in railroad issues. 18 million in utility stocks and bonds. 12 million in industrial securities and U.S. government bonds. The Knights of Columbus owns such properties as the Yankee Stadium in New York. Okay, we just saw Knight of Columbus, Al Smith, threw out the first pitch, and there's a Knights of Columbus plaque at Yankee Stadium in honor of Pope John Paul II. Okay, so the Knights of Columbus own Yankee Stadium in New York City. They own the former New Haven Railway headquarters building. They own the Crucible Steel Company's Detroit warehouse. They own the Brunswick Bulk Calendar Company's building in Chicago, the site of the new $5 million Sheraton Hotel in New Haven. The Knights of Columbus own department stores in St. Louis with a property value of $4.5 million. Again, this is 1983 money. The Knights of Columbus own department stores in Camden, New Jersey, and Philadelphia, appraised at 2.5 and 2 million. They own a new $1.8 million steel tube mill of the Bridgeport Brass Company, as well as many others. The Knights of Columbus run a vast insurance business. In 1966, they reported assets of $281 million. Now these have exceeded 300 million. Okay, so there's some of the Knights of Columbus's financial assets there. Okay. Um, you see here they do own the stadium. They invested in the stadium in 1925. There's lots of information out there on this. You type Knights of Columbus. Um, what's this? The annual Knights of Columbus Yankee game, 2018. Let's see this. Yeah, so the 2018 annual New York State Knights of Columbus Yankee game will be held Saturday, May 12th, 2018. There you go. The event will be held at Yankee Stadium. So it looks like the Knights of Columbus are still the owners of Yankee Stadium. I'm gonna pull up my phone here, see if anyone's in the chat. Actually, this the current commissioner of baseball. Uh, what's his name? Peter Manfred. Yeah, the current major. Yeah, the current big dog. I wrote an article in like February. I'll link this in the description. This is huge. Goes way into the comments. But yeah, the current commissioner of Major League Baseball is educated by Jesuits. And look at here, the current Yankees play-by-play guys are Jesuit educated. Michael Neil Kay does the play-by-play for the Yes Network. They covered the Yankee games, educated at Fordham Jesuit. And Jack F. Curry is the lead analyst on Yankees pregame and postgame shows on Yes Network. He went to Fordham University. Okay. Actually, Joe Girardi is Roman Catholic. Um, You see, Knights of Columbus. So I already showed you Babe Ruth was a Knight of Columbus, and this pitcher who helped the Yankees win a World Series was a Knight of Columbus also. And this guy was like a Hall of Fame pitcher. You're Ron Goudry, former Major League Baseball left-hand pitcher. He's Knight of Columbus. Okay. Um, let me see here. Yeah, then there's more. There's a few other connections in this article I made. Yeah, the current executive general manager, Brian Cashman. Brian Cashman is a Roman Catholic, and he went to Georgetown Prep School in 1985. Okay, and he also went to Lexington Catholic High School. And guys, he was classmates with current Supreme Court Justice Neil Garouche at Georgetown. Okay, that's another. That Neil Garouche is a big Jesuit player on the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, Brian Cashman, the current owner of the or executive GM at the Yankees, was educated at Georgetown, and this all makes sense because the Knights of Columbus like own the stadium. Okay. And actually, the founder of the National Football League here, George Stanley Papa Bear Hallis, one of the founders of the NFL and the founding owner of the Chicago Bears, was educated at Jesuit Loyola University Chicago, and he played for the Yankees as well. Lots of connections. So check out that article there. You'll see that there's tons of like the current commissioner of baseball. I said like Peter Manfred is Jesuit trained. Two of the last three commissioners of the National Football League Pete Rozelle and Paul Tagleby are educated by Jesuits. There's connections to all the commissionerships in this article. Even like Mike Breen, the guy who does the NBA Finals announcements every single year, educated by Jesuits at Fordham. And actually, that's why you can look this up. Like the lady who runs CNN, like she's the executive vice president. Her name's Christine Dreisen. She was educated at Jesuit Fordham University, and ESPN 2 years ago did a joint program with the U.S. Department of State. That's the military. So the military and ESPN are doing joint programs now. And who's coordinating these joint ESPN military programs? Well, it's the Jesuit trained people at ESPN that are doing this. And actually, this guy, I think I wrote a little blog piece on this too. Yeah, the current ESPN bracketologist, Joe Lunardi, is a full-on faculty member at Jesuit St. Joseph's University. He founded the whole college basketball bracketology craze. So if you want to get the Jesuits literally control sports. So if you want to catch up on that, read this article here. Literally all the big-time pundits you can think of are Catholics. Like Bill Simmons went to Jesuit Holy Cross. Like I said, with Mike Breen, like Dan Lebitard on CNN, Roman Catholic. Literally all the analysts you can think of. Even owners too. Like ton of this guy here, Mark Chipman, owns the Winnipeg Jets. Went to St. Paul's University, Jesuit, and now he's on the National Hockey League Board of Governors Executive Committee. Tons of connections like that. And interesting, this is kind of funny. I'll get back on topic to Yankee Stadium here and wrap up the video. But Scottie Pippen, who wore number 33 on the Chicago Bulls, was a registered Prince Hall Freemason, so it makes sense why he wore number 33. And yeah, Michael Jordan sent both his kids to Jesuit Loyola Academy, and tons of like all-star players in all the sports leagues actually graduate from Jesuit schools. Just highlighting some here, like Steve Nash, Allen Iverson, Patrick Ewing, Matt Ryan, Dwayne Wade, all went to Jesuit schools. Many, 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 many others. Yeah. You see that the Knights of Columbus still own the stadium. Like they're having a 2018 annual Knights of Columbus Yankee game. You see here the Roman fasces on the Knights of Columbus logo. Keep that in mind. Okay, I'll link that article in the description. And here's another plaque here, or I think this might be the plaque I showed here. Knights of Columbus give Yankee Stadium a 105-pound plaque to commemorate Benedict XVI visit. So I think this is another plaque here. Catholic News Agency. Okay. April 2008, New York City will gain a new commemorative plaque after the celebration of Mass at Yankee Stadium on Sunday. The Knights of Columbus have commissioned a new bronze maker to be installed at the site after Sunday. The new bronze plaque will join to recall the celebrations at Yankee Stadium by Popes Paul VI and John Paul II. Paul VI, on his trip to New York that year, also spoke at the United Nations, the first time a pope had done that. You see your Catholic Knight of Columbus Governor Al Smith wrote the opening pitch for the first game of the Yankee Stadium. Al Smith, guys, was involved in the American Liberty League, which was directly involved in the 1934 business plot to install a fascist dictatorship in the United States. Yeah. The Knights of Columbus have a special fund from which they support the papal charities called Vicaris Christi. Okay, if there ever was a money laundering fund, just look into. I'm gonna see if I can actually find find the financial reports of that fund. Yeah, so the Knights of Columbus are still connected to Yankee Stadium and they own it. Aber Manhattan wrote in 1983 that they own it. They actually built it. Okay. So you see here, here's the Yankee Encyclopedia from page. This is like an official scholarly book here. The Knights of Columbus bought Yankee Stadium grounds for 2.5 million. Okay. Okay, you can't make this shit up. Okay. This is from the Yankee Encyclopedia by Mark Gallagher. So the Knights of Columbus bought the stadium. Okay. And they own it. And so I'm gonna wrap it up here, but yeah, see, even like that's why at the Yankee Stadium it looks like a Roman Coliseum from like the outside. Yeah, it starts to make sense why it looks like a Roman Coliseum. But here's the Knights of Columbus Fasces logo. Um, yeah, here, where was it? Here, I'll pull it up. I'm just gonna show you other Roman fasci. So I think this will. If you haven't seen these before, I think a lot of light bulbs will go up. This is just kind of showing you it with symbols that like the Roman control system is everywhere. Here's the Knights of Columbus fasci logo, and on this article here. Okay, so I put together a little compilation of Roman fasces that are all over the world on different government seals. So I'll click on some of them here, so you can see that there's a pattern. Here's the province of St. Gallen in Switzerland. The flag is a Roman fasces. Okay. Here is the seal of the city of Brooklyn. Okay, right here. Who is that looks like the goddess Mary. Who is the Mary holding? What's Mary holding on the seal of the city of Brooklyn? Well, she's holding a Roman fasci. Here's a postage stamp of Adolf Hitler and Mussolini. What's that on the left? A Roman fasci. Okay, here's Department of Defense, National Guard Bureau, Roman fasci. Okay. The state of Colorado, Roman fasci. Same fasci it's on the Knight of Columbus. Okay, National Sheriff's Association, United States, Roman reef, just like Anonymous, and Roman fasci. Okay. You got here, this looks like an Italian or USA Marine Corps regimental. Yeah, this is US Marine Corps. Let's see if I can. Yeah, US Marine Corps regimental insignia. See Roman fasci right there. Okay, all over the place. Okay, you got the intercollegiate state or the Tennessee Intercollegiate State Legislature Roman fasci. Okay, you got Roman fasci on the United States Senate, the same fasci that's on the Knight of Columbus, who owns Yankee Stadium. Okay, you see right at the bottom. Okay, so like it's all over the place here. Okay, here's the Roman fascis in the U.S. House of Representatives. Every time the U.S. president stands in between these two fascis and talks, he like it's mockery, telling you in plain sight that the Roman papacy owns the United States. They've been controlling the United States for some time now. Okay, they had a hand in creating it actually. Um, I put out evidence in previous videos on my channel that actually the head of the Jesuits, the Black Pope Lorenzo Ricci, had a part to play in the foundation of America. And Benjamin Franklin was best buddies with Jesuits Charles and John Carroll. Ben Franklin was also the head of the Scottish Rite Freemasons in Philadelphia at the time of the founding of America, and in Philadelphia was the only city in America where there's a Roman Catholic Church. Coincidence? I don't think so. Maybe you see here, and that's why George Washington, like to this day, there's statues of George Washington holding the Roman fasces. Here's the Roman fasces in a Virginia Capitol building. They even made a statue of Lincoln holding the fasces. I think that's kind of a dishonoring to his legacy. Um, show you a few more here. These Roman fasces are all over the place. They're at Oxford University. They're on statues here. Okay. Here's this like Hermes, the messenger of God. Hermes is also known as the god of thieves. So you have the god of thieves holding the Roman fasces. Okay. And actually, I've exposed previous on my channel too that like in the ancient like days of like Charlemagne and all like the kings throughout Europe, the kings of Europe had their sacred black book. And what is the sacred black book that was known to the god Hermes, the god of thieves? Well, the black book was nothing else but the black book of the law of the black book of the law of the maritime admiralty system. You can find that actually in Oxford's or Black's Law edition. Yeah, Black's Law 8th edition. Type in the black book of the admiralty. And that was the sacred black book of the ancient kings of Europe and the Roman Empire that was sacred to the god Hermes. Here's another fasces at Oxford. Okay, so you get the fasces are everywhere. They're on the U.S. courts administrative court seal. And there you saw it again, the Knights of Columbus. Okay, let me see if I can find. Oh yeah, it's on currency in the U.S. It's on the United States dime. Here's the big one here. This is important. Roman fasci on the administrative office of the United States courts. Okay. And you see that's the same fascia on the Knights of Columbus, the same Knights of Columbus who own the Yankee Stadium. Okay, good. So I think I'm gonna end it there. And actually, yeah, I just wanted to make this video quick and just read the article. I'll link all the articles in the description that I referenced, so you can see how the Roman Catholic hierarchy really controls sports, and sports hasn't changed at all since they were created 2,000 years ago by the Roman emperors to distract their subjects while the big boys get to make the political decisions. Yeah, that's how it's always been. Okay, but that's all for this one, YouTube. Peace and love, and I'm Nas.